everyone. Today we are going to see how to handle the exception in Java. Exception is nothing but any abnormal deviation or any situation occur in a normal flow of program. That is nothing but exception. Let's see how exception occur and how we can handle the exception by using different methods. In that we can handle different way that exceptions. First we write the program here. That's for that purpose I created one class that I write here normal team dot println normal flow of program. Okay, then int a is equal to 6 by 0. Then system dot out dot println a. Okay, let's see how it's work. I will explain all those things, how to handle exception, what are the different types of exceptions are here, what are the superclasses of exceptions, or what is the hierarchy of exceptions. All those I will explain. Please let's see how it works and how will I explain. Okay, first I run that. Yes, it's throw an exception like arithmetic exception, and which line, 7 number line, we can show an exception. Here is it is explain itself by 7 number line. Okay. To handle this exception, we can use try and catch block. Without catch block, we cannot handle the exception. Without try block, we cannot handle the exception. I mean to say that try and catch block should be at a time we need to write. Then try, in the try block, we write that code. Okay. Then after that catch block, arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception. E then session handled in catch block. Okay, then see how it works, and then also again we can write another one function. After handle catch, after handling the exception. Okay, we should print all those. We should not throw an exception. Yes, normal flow program, arithmetic exception handled in catch block. After handling the exception, we print all those things. How we can handle the exception? By using try block, we can handle the exception. In one try block, we can write multiple catch blocks. Like we can write copy this, print array index out of bounds exception, then array index out of bounds exception handle in catch block. Okay, then we can also write another exception, array store exception. Okay, yes, we can write also another exception, null pointer pointer null pointer exception, then null pointer exception handle in catch block. So like this we can handle the exception, and then we can write another here exception. When we know which type of exception may occur, that time we can write those exception like arithmetic exception. We know here which types of exception will occur. That's why we can write here arithmetic exception. But when we don't know which type of exception is occur, that time we can write multiple catch blocks, and in that catch block we can write each exception in each catch block. Then after that we also, if we don't know which types of exception will occur, then lastly we can use exception. In that exception is a hierarchy of all the exception like null pointer exceptions, array store exception, then array index out of bounds exception, arithmetic exception. These exceptions hierarchy is the runtime exception. Then runtime exception hierarchy is the exception. Then we see the exceptions hierarchy. We only right click on that. Let's see, when we need to write here arithmetic exception, then right click, then see the declaration type. In that declaration types we can see arithmetic exception extend the runtime exception, means runtime exceptions superclass is the arithmetic exception, superclass is the runtime exception. Then see runtime exception superclass. Here runtime exception superclass is the exception class. Then also see the exception class superclass is the throwable. Yes, this is the hierarchy of the exception. First is the throwable. Copy, we can write here. Okay, no issue. I can write here like so. Arithmetic exception. Let's see. Then also right here. Then runtime exception. Let's see. Here. then exception. Yes. No, something went wrong. Arithmetic exception. Yes, arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception. Then runtime exception. Then exception. Then hierarchy of that exception is to be the throwable. Yes. Superclass of arithmetic exception is runtime exception. Then superclass of runtime exception is exception. Then exception superclass is the throwable class. So throwable is a supermaster class of exception. In that throwable, we have two classes like error and exception. Then after that, okay, let me write one comment here. Then exception having two types, runtime exception, runtime exception. These are different types of exception, like first to be right here. Then after that, in runtime exception, there are different types of exception. First is arithmetic exception. Then array index out of bounds exception. Then per number array store exception. Then for number null pointer exception. These are the exception of runtime exception. Then let's see, compile time exception is there. Compile time exception. In that class not found exception. Then file not found exception. Then after that, IO exception. Then etc. These types of exceptions are occur at runtime, and we can handle these exception. This type of exceptions occurred at compile time. Yes, these are the types of different types of exception. This is the hierarchy of exception. Then we can also use finally block. In that finally block, if any exception handle or not, finally block is to be executed. Let's see, we can write here finally block. Okay. Any type of exception handle or not, but finally block will execute. Okay. Whether the exception handle or not in try and catch block, this is not impacted on finally block. Whatever we are written in finally block, it will execute it by default. That is the use of finally block. We can also here we use throw and throws. Purpose of throw to handle the exception at inside the method, and only once we write the throw, it can handle only once the exception. Like, okay, we can write here throw new exception. This is new exception. We can write throw keyword to handle the exception at method level. Why it's throw an error? Because we need to create here one method. Okay, we are creating test engine method to show you how this work. Annotation test priority is equal to 0, no, 0. Then public void okay, import this package. Okay, we can write here in another program. Annotation test import its package, priority equal to 2, then public void test2, then we can write here that code. Add throw, handled exception. Control Z. Yes, in the method level we can handle only single exception, and at inside the method we can handle only single exception and we can write throw. But at method level we can write throws, and with the help of throws we can handle multiple exception. Like let's say throws IO exception, then arithmetic exception, then file not found exception, something went wrong, okay, then exception. Yes, by this way we can handle the exception. By using throws keyword we can handle at method level multiple exception. By using throw keyword we can handle only single exception inside the method. That is the way. Let's see how it's work. Okay, here one failure is there. Which type of exception throw? Yes, this is new exception. It throw, this is new exception, I exception. Like this guys, we can use throws, finally, try and catch blocks to handle the exception. These are the exception handling concepts. Please understand each and every concept thoroughly and try to execute by using these exceptions in our script. It's beneficial. If we cannot handle the exception, we cannot move further. Thanks. Please share, subscribe and like.